So 1.5, using formulas in geometry, we're going to talk about different formulas that deal with perimeter and area and circumference for different geometric figures. So here we've got all of the geometric figures that we're going to talk about in this section listed for you. And what we want you to do is we want you to have these all memorized and known, because we're not going to give them to you when it comes to quiz or a test. Okay, so you got to make sure you know these, and you've dealt with them before, so hopefully this is just a refresher for you. So taking a look, first off, when we talk about perimeter, if we're talking about like perimeter of a rectangle, the perimeter is just the outside information. It's just the length and the width all added up. It's almost like a fence. If you had a fence around a yard, how much fence would you need? That's perimeter. When we talk about area, it's all the information on the inside, the square units on the inside of your geometric figure. So when we talk about rectangle, to find the perimeter, you've got 2 lengths plus 2 widths. That's how you find the perimeter. The area is just length times width. Now in a square, we know the square has 4 congruent sides, so the perimeter of a square is going to be 4s, and the area is going to be s squared. For a triangle, if you're finding perimeter of a triangle, all you have to do is just add up all the sides. And then for the area, you've seen it as probably 1/2 the base of the triangle times the height, or some people put BH divided by 2. The last one we're going to talk about is a circle. In a circle, when you take a look at the circle, it's got a center. And the distance from the center to the circle is the radius, and the distance from the circle's end to end through the center is the diameter. And to find the circumference, or the distance around the circle, we would use either the formula of 2 times pi times the radius, or since the radius is actually the diameter is actually twice the radius, we could also use the formula for circumference, diameter times pi. Lastly, the area of a circle is pi r squared. So utilizing these formulas, we're going to run through a couple examples with you. So the first example, we're going to go ahead and find the area of a square with a side of 3 inches. When you're working through these, make sure that you take a look at what geometric figure we're working with, along with what it is that they're looking for. Are they looking for area or perimeter? So we are working with a square, and we want to find its area. So the first thing you should always do with problems like this is you should always write down your formula. I want to see the formula written. I cannot stress that enough. It needs to be written. I don't care how smart you are, write the formula. So since I'm working with the area of a square, I'm going to write the formula for that. And the area of a square formula is A equals S squared. Now the piece of information they did tell you with this is they told you that each side was 3 inches. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put the 3 in for the side length and square it. And we know that 3 squared is 9. So our area is going to be 9, and for area, it's square units, so it's going to be inches squared. Now the next question said, with the same square, we're going to go ahead and find the perimeter. Again, if we're finding the perimeter square, I need you to write the formula down. Must write it down. So the perimeter formula for a square is 4s, and we said each side was 3. So we end up getting 12, and for perimeter, since it's just the amount around, it's just going to end up being inches. The only units that would be squared are when we're dealing with area. Alright, so take a look at the next one. It says the perimeter of a rectangle is 60 inches. Should have noticed right off the bat that we're talking about a rectangle, and we're talking about giving you the perimeter. So the length then is 22. We want to find the width of the rectangle. I'm using a rectangle's perimeter formula. Write it down. The perimeter formula for a rectangle is 2L plus 2W. I need to see that written. So the next thing we do is we fill in what we know. Well, we do know that the perimeter is 60, so we're going to throw that 60 in for RP. They also tell us that the length is 22, so we're going to throw that in for the L. We are trying to solve for our width. Well, if at this point in time you've got more than one variable left over, we have a problem and you screwed up. Otherwise, I only have W left over. We're good to go. Going through and solving, I'm going to get 60 equals 44 plus 2W. We're going to do the subtraction and solve, so we get the width is 8. So our width is 8, and it's just going to end up being 8 inches. The only time which I should have inches squared if at the end it was an area equals equation. So number 3, the area of a rectangle is 150 square feet. The width is 10. Find the length of the rectangle. Big thing here. Here we go. I've got a geometric figure that is a rectangle, and we are dealing with them telling me what the area is. So, of course, we are going to write down the area formula for a rectangle. Write it down, write it down, write it down. Area equals length times width. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and throw what we know in. So the area was 150, so we're going to throw that in. 150 square feet. They also told me what the width was. So if they told me the width was 10 and I throw that in there, that means my variable that's left over is the L, because I need to find out what the length is. So we're going to have L times 10. Solving this, we're going to end up getting the length is 15. So we have 15, and since it's a length, it's just going to end up being feet, not feet squared.
All right, in number 4, we got ourselves a triangle, you guys. They want you to find the perimeter and the area of the following. Well, for a triangle, remember the formula is just to add up. You have P equals A plus B plus C. That just means we're going to take all 3 sides and add them together. Well, in this case, we have x plus 4 plus 5x plus 6. Combining like terms, you should end up with 6x plus 10. Is it okay to have an x in your answer? Yes. Now don't forget, we don't have any units labeled here, so because there's no inches or feet, let's just put a u afterwards. So 6x plus 10 units. That's our perimeter. Okay, for area, you guys, the area of a triangle is base times height over 2, or if you would like, 1/2 base times height. So let's put in our formula, base times height over 2. Plug in the pieces we know. 6 for the base. The height is x plus 4. And we're going to divide it by 2. Now you could do this a couple different ways. You can go ahead and distribute your 6 and then divide each part by 2. Or you can go ahead and reduce the 6 over 2, making it 3 times x plus 4, leaving you with 3x plus 12. And then because this is area, this would be units squared. Word problem time. All right, let's read through it. Let's draw our picture, label, and then we'll see where we go from there. It says a puzzle contains triangular pieces with a base of 3 and a height of 4. Our manufacturer wants to make 80 puzzles. Find the amount of plastic used if each puzzle contains 20 pieces. First things first, each piece is a triangular piece, so our picture should be a picture of a triangle. So here's my triangular piece for my puzzle. It says it has a base of 3 inches and a height of 4 inches. And we're looking to find and make puzzles. The first thing I want you to think of is if you're making a puzzle, are you going to be dealing with perimeter or with area? Hopefully, you think of area because the puzzle gets filled in. We're not just going along the outside. So our formula that we're looking for is the area of a triangle. Area is base times height over 2, or again, 1/2 base times height. But let's think about this. I want 80 puzzles, and I want to find the amount it takes if each puzzle contains 20 pieces. First things first, if it contains 20 pieces, let's find the area of one piece and multiply that by 20 to find the area of one puzzle. Then we'll work on the 80 puzzles after that. So one puzzle piece. So one piece of a puzzle. Base times height over 2 would give me 3 times 4 over 2. Well, that's 12 divided by 2, which gives me 6 inches squared. That is one piece. Okay, but I don't want one piece. I want puzzles. In each puzzle, there are 20 pieces. So, if there are 20 pieces, let's take our 6 inches squared and multiply it by 20. Okay, that gives me a total of 120 inches squared. So this is for one puzzle. But I don't want one puzzle. I want 80 puzzles. So our next step after that is for 80 puzzles. So I'm going to take my one puzzle, 120 inches squared, and I'm going to multiply that by 80 because I want 80 puzzles. That will give me a total of 9,600 inches squared. That's how much I need for 80 puzzles. All right, these last couple examples deal with circles, you guys. The first one says find the circumference and the area of a circle if the diameter is 28. Leave your answer in terms of pi. This is a little bit different. Before, you guys had to go ahead and multiply through by pi or 3.14. Actually, leaving pi in makes your answer more accurate. So we're going to leave our symbol pi in and not have to worry about multiplying. Unless, of course, the directions in the book or my directions ask you to round. All right, so find the circumference and the area. For circumference and area, especially area, we're going to need to know what our radius is. If the diameter is 28, so all the way across the circle is 28, that would give us a radius of 14. So circumference being diameter times pi would give me 28 pi. Yes, this is your answer. You don't have to multiply through. Your answer would just be 28 pi. And this is just units because it's circumference. To find the area, it's pi r squared. Okay, so this would just be pi times 14 squared, which gives you 196 pi. Oops. Sorry, you guys, my pen went off. I'm having pen issues. So this is 14 squared, which is 196 pi. And now this is area, so it should be units squared. All right, last one. Find the radius of a circle if the area is 64 pi. Again, we're looking for the formula first. So area is pi r squared. We know that the area is 64 pi, so that's going to go in right here. 64 pi equals pi times the radius squared. I want to solve for r, you guys. If I want to solve for r, that means the first thing I have to get rid of is pi. Pi is a number. You can divide by pi. So we're going to divide both sides by pi. It cancels on both sides. And you're left with 64 equals r squared. Well, my question to you is, how do you unsquare a square? Well, you just take the square root. Square root of 64 leaves you with a radius of 8, and this is 8 units. Now, when you take the square root of 64, technically you get negative 8 and a positive 8, but a radius is a length. Remember, length can't be negative, so your only answer is 8 units. All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow.